Today I'm taking a slightly different angle. I'm saying that we are so back. I am going to be positive today because I'm going to talk about the great things that are happening. Maybe last couple of episodes have been a little bit negative, talking about, the doom and gloom and stuff. I don't want it to make it seem like I'm just this like pessimist and everything. But truly things are great, man. The world's moving in a better direction in comparison to maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And it's actually something that's very positive. So I'm going to go through some of those positive things really quickly. I don't have a lot of time today. So I'm going to go through some of those great positive things that's changing this world and why, I'm looking optimistic, looking at a bright, optimistic, positive future because of all the great things that's happening. You can look at, whatever AI, or you can look at woke culture, and you can say, oh, this is bad. But really, it's way better than it once was, man. So it starts with just basically, the woke culture. People generally, like maybe if you ask people like pre-COVID, maybe like during COVID, directly after COVID, most people would have probably said, yeah, I want to, yeah, I want to be equal, equality, whatever, LGBTQ, all that stuff. And it's like it became such a crazy thing, right? It became such a mess, man. But now people are waking up. More and more people each and every day are waking up to the fact that woke culture, LGBTQ is just a small part of that. Woke culture in general is like everywhere. People are waking up to that, and people are waking up to that fact, and like they're seeking to do better. Like more people than ever are turning to Christianity. More people than ever are putting their faith in Jesus. Like especially like people in my age demographic, like Gen Z people. Like there's stats all over. A lot of Gen Z people are turning to Jesus Christ for faith, and a lot of people are moving away from liberalism towards conservatism. Although I don't think any political values work, but I think conservatism is by far a better thing than liberalism. And it's like you have, okay, yes, politicians are still like not great, but I think the example set in the American election last year was a very great thing. It was a very great thing because Donald Trump won. He didn't just win, he destroyed the election. He won every single swing state, and he absolutely just dominated, demolished the other side. And that is basically a testament to the fact that people are done with liberal BS. Most people in America are done with it. And I imagine most people in the world are also pretty done with it because you're seeing the fruits, right? You're seeing the fruits about how these types of values are slowly destroying society, right? So more and more people are seeing those fruits. For me, I probably made that realization like 2023-ish, 2024, yeah, 2023-ish probably, somewhere along those lines. For other people, they're only just starting to, move away from those types of values now, which is still amazing. It's still better late than never, man, because it's really something so destructive, man. And you can just see it. The people, obviously, there will always be people that fall under that side, but people that, are out there protesting, they're screaming, they're burning cars, like all this crazy stuff. And it's like, dude, you can't just like be respectful, reasonable, human decency. No, a lot of this radicalism does not take into consideration human decency. These are truly, truly, completely socially unadept, inadequate people, and just parasocial and narcissistic, psychopathic people to some degree. Some people worse than others. And a lot of people, the average person, right? The average person, the person that's just, wants to live a good life and is seeing prices go up and is seeing crime go up. The average person is realizing, this might not be the way. And the more people realize that, the more we will actually, move forward in a better direction as a society. A lot of people seem to think that a lot of these countries are dead and buried and beyond repair. I'm not so sure about that. I hope that it is. And even if Trump being in office hasn't actually, he's delivered on a couple of his promises. Like it's not all doom and gloom. The media will try and portray it as doom and gloom. The media will try and portray it as, oh, Trump's lied to everyone, all this stuff. But no, he's come through on some of his promises, some of his campaign promises. But of course, I think a lot of people were hoping for more. He still has 3 years, don't forget. So it's not like it's not like it's all over. People really get all riled up by stuff, but you got to be a little bit more patient. Like in April with the tariffs, everyone was going crazy. The tariffs, oh my goodness, the world will fall apart, man. Oh my goodness, economically, everyone's bad. And then you slowly started to see that deals were being made, agreements were being made. No one, and of course you have the government shut down, but that's a whole other problem. But like you slowly started to see that okay, you could actually see that things were actually moving in a better direction because the whole point of the tariffs is to benefit America, to change those deals in favor of America, which is what he's supposed to do as American president. And a lot of people forget about that it is about the country you run, right? So, but like point, I digress. Case in point, it hasn't been all doom and gloom, but maybe people were expecting a little bit more. But that's okay. It's the symbolism of it, the fact that like he's the guy, he's the outsider, he's the guy that has no filter, that says what's on his mind. He doesn't he doesn't really care. And people appreciate that realness. That's really it. People appreciate that realness. Be like, yeah, these other values, these other things are just weird. Like they're just whack. It just doesn't make any sense. So you got a guy in here that okay, he's not perfect. No one's perfect. But he's at least making sense, and he's at least you can see the honesty, and he's real, and he's super funny. So it's just like, you know, it's just like it's the symbolism of the fact that yes, we're moving in a better direction. As a society, we are moving in a better direction. So it's a great thing to see. More people are turning to God than ever right now. Again, the internet radicalism might be pushing other narratives. The media might be pushing other narratives. But if you really look at the statistics, the raw statistics, you can find that more people than ever are turning to God, more people than ever are moving away from liberalism and towards conservatism and adopting different family values. And more men than ever want to have children. And it's like, these are good things. Of course, there's still a lot of bad, but these are good things, man. So that's the point of this episode. I'm just going to be positive for a little bit. That's like, yeah, man, we're moving in a good direction, man. And I think, the only way society is ever going to fix itself and it's ever going to be back to being economically sustainable is through a bigger increase in faith and populations, right? You have Muslim countries, and Muslim countries are succeeding, like Saudi, Qatar. They're succeeding because they have these values, and these values are put in place, and you cannot really betray those values, and they're strict on it, right? Some people say, okay, I don't want to go to Dubai because they'll arrest you for whatever tiny little thing. Fine, that's reasonable, but that's the reason why they're the safest, one of the safest cities in the world, because they really crack down on that stuff, right? So why can't traditionally Christian countries do the same thing? So I hope that we are moving in a better direction in that way, that we can have more set values as countries, as nations, to truly do better and improve and economically get us back up to a good level rather than being trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. Like the Canadian government is a few trillion in debt, and the American government are 20 times more in debt, like 20 trillion, or who the hell knows how much debt they're actually in because they've just been accruing it over decades. So if we can put good values back in place, which I feel like we're kind of slowly moving in that direction, not very quickly, and it's not very seeable, and you definitely won't feel it, but I feel like it's still a very positive thing that we are moving in a good direction. And there are still countries in Europe that are very well sustainable, very good. There's some messed up countries in Europe, like Sweden's a bit of a mess right now. Portugal, which is the country I was in, was starting to become that way. I was seeing it, but we actually have elected a very good not prime minister, but we're moving in a better direction, let's say, in terms of actually cracking down on some of the biggest issues of our country too. So that's important. And you can take a look, and it's like, you know what? Especially like specifically when it comes to the West, things are looking good. Things are looking good. Maybe 5 years ago is way worse. I think if you compare now to 5 years ago, pre-COVID, COVID woke a lot of people up to all the BS, all the government lies, all the scandals, all the bureaucracy, truly that is within governments and how they don't actually care about you. People waking up to that fact is is the first important step into realizing that you got to go out and get it yourself. You got to put your faith in Christ, not faith in the government. And more and more people realize that. A lot of people woke up right after COVID hit because they realized, okay, you're just keeping us in our house, right? You're looking at the statistics. It's like, okay, is this really warranted? I don't really know. The fear, right? The fear porn, all that type of stuff. The vast majority of people woke up and realized all of this was BS after COVID. But then even like in the years following COVID, slowly people are starting to realize, right? The American election season was a true testament to that, right? Trump being just destroyed in legal battles from cases that literally like have no merit to them, and then again just to ruin his name, and then of course him getting shot, which he did get shot, by the way, liberals. I don't know why people seem to think he didn't get shot. The proof of the fact that he got shot is because 2 other people died that day, right? That is that is the truth of the matter. So he was 6 inches away from being dead, and a lot of people after that happened realized, okay, why would he be shot? It's it's clearly not a freaking just random dude, right? Because he had 6 cell phones that seemed to just go missing. No, like the FBI hadn't released anything. So it's just very sketchy, very shady, and these types of things and these types of stupidities within government that cause people to be more mindful, to be more open, honest, and that's why Trump received all the votes that he did, completely and utterly because of those 2 things, of that election season specifically. So even if it hasn't been perfect so far, you got to like give the guy time. If at the end of the 4 years you've looked at his term and it's like, he didn't really do anything, then okay, fine, you know what I mean? Like, then we'll go from there. But we're not even a year in, man. You know what I mean? So people just need to calm down, look on the positive side of life. Things are going good in society. Things are moving in a better direction. 5 years ago, things were a mess. Even a little bit past 5 years ago, things were a mess, right? I remember being in school and we were talking about like Trump, and like everyone hated Trump, right? So then I was taught just to hate Trump because apparently Trump is just this evil guy that wants to destroy the whole world or whatever. I don't know. That was the narrative. He was always firing a freaking missile over the Middle East, or I don't know what it was, like back in like 2016, 2017. But then I've grown up, right? And I've realized, okay, 90% of it is complete nonsense, garbage, not untrue information. Maybe 10% of it because that's just who he is. He's the alpha male. He's bold. He's brash. He says what's on his mind. So as a result, sometimes things can be used against him. I'm not going to rule that out, but 90% of it's crap. So that's the point. I'm not the only one that's realized that, right? I am far from the only one that's realized that. So many more people are realizing that, and I believe that's a very good thing for the future, because we've seen how, although we have the New York mayor, but we've seen how socialism doesn't work, communism doesn't work. Like capitalism, but morally founded on good Christian morals, is probably the best way to go in terms of how we want to structure society. Obviously, I'm not an expert. That's just my personal opinion. So with that in mind, I see the patterns, I see the facts, I see the things moving in the right direction. And just in terms of that stat, even if like there are many places in America, places in the West that have a lot of crime still, that have a lot of like, immigration problems, illegals, homelessness, those are big issues, right? But I feel like we're slowly cracking down on them, like as a society. And it's a positive thing. And even if we're not, it's important to keep a positive attitude, a positive mindset throughout everything regardless, because even if we're not, even if the world is still going to crap, and as much as people are waking up to the BS, there's still way too many people that are brainwashed. And even if there's too many people brainwashed, and then the government officials are still not going to do anything anyway. So even if the world's still moving in a bad direction, you should still keep a positive mental attitude about it, because well, at least things are slowing down, right? If the world was where it was in 2020, I don't even know where we'd be right now. But because things adapt, things change, people are really waking up to that fact that, it's kind of all BS anyway. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because it will move people away from being tied to governments or anything, and It will move us into a more free-flowing individual society, individual-based, merit-based society, which is kind of the direction you want to go in. And where AI plays a part, AI will, if AI is used for good, it will play a huge part in making this world a better place, truly. But it has to be used for good. And I'm not sure if the people running AIs are actually using it for good. Only time will tell on that. But stay positive, man. So this is a positive episode. Things are moving in the right direction. As much as there are so many faults in the world, it's a huge world. It's never going to be perfect. It's probably never even going to be close to perfect, right? But because you can see that things are moving in the right direction, you can see it with the people around you that you're just looking at. It's like, okay. I'm even seeing with there's a person close to me where she was very liberal, right? She was very, very liberal. Like in 2020, no, I think it was during COVID. I wrote an essay for my English class, and I don't remember the context, but I made a reference about how Biden rigged the election in 2020. I was pretty young. I didn't even know like the details behind it, although it's pretty freaking obvious if you look into the numbers. But that's neither here nor there. I wrote the essay, and she was like, she saw it, she read it, and she got like pissed. She's like, "Oh no, you can't prove that, blah 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 blah." And now, like this was like 2021. Let's say now I've actually seen her start to move to more conservative values, being like, "Okay, this doesn't make any sense," and I think that's a lot of people. I think that's a lot of people, truly. She still doesn't like Trump, but that's okay. Like you don't need to like Trump, right? You just need to put your faith in Christ. But that's not only her. That is so many other people in that exact same boat just by what they're seeing. And that's an amazing thing because the more people wake up, the more we can actually fight for change, to move this world into a better place, to do more good things each and every day. So I'll leave you at that. I got to get going. Of course I'm in a rush as always because I got to get out of the house. So be positive. Look at the world. Don't look at all the overwhelming things of this world. Look at it from a positive perspective. It'll help you in your life, and it'll help you see it as better. It will keep you more content and less bitter at things that you don't need to be bitter about. And doing that will truly, keep you in that positive headspace, and you'll seek to do good in yourself and in your life each and every day. And that's all we got to do on this planet. So get out of here. I will see you tomorrow in the next episode. Put your faith in Christ each and every day. And that is truly all that matters.